Hey guys, Dr. Ben here at FA Will Centers. Welcome. Let's talk about some nutrition. Let's talk about how dietitians or nutritionists in the United States are being taught and who's teaching them and who's actually funding this education process that we're getting into. I mean, it's crazy what is coming out now and the interweaving that is done in between what we educate thousands of dietitians a year with and who is actually sponsoring and funding a lot of this information. So welcome, Dr. Ben Gallier here at F8 Well Centers. We have offices in Colorado, Tennessee, and we work with patients all over the country and even the world. And we are very particular about our nutritionists. And they have to have certain training when we hire them, and then we train them up in depth into exactly the information that we want to give our patients. And so we know how hard it is to find people that have not been, basically, sold this line of BS that it's okay to have X number of grains. It's okay to have these carbs. Think about this. My wife, bless her, she had a kidney stone a couple months ago, and it got stuck, and we couldn't get it to move. So we were in the hospital, and they needed us to eat something. She needed to eat before we could go home, make sure she's not going to throw up, anything like that. So I looked at the menu, and this is in a hospital, in a pretty nice hospital, and they said, there was a little asterisk, and it said for people that are on a diabetic or type 2 diabetes or a low carb type diet, look for 50 to 70 grams of carbs or less, or around that mark in a meal. 50 to 70 is like what somebody should be getting an entire day, and yet people on a carb restriction in their model are getting 50 to 70 per meal. I mean, that's like an entire thing of rice plus. It's crazy, and that's carb restricted. So here we go. The American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is going to be, they have hundreds of thousands of dietetics and nutritionists that have been trained by them, and they're certified by them. They're training tens of thousands of people a year, and the leading organization of getting information out to the front line. Basically, they also are going to lobby for Congress. So for health related issues, they're going to congressmen, senators, things like that, and say, hey, we want this bill to say this. We think this is important for health. And then they also are going to be advisory panels for government entities and government organizations and government, the FDA. All these things are going to come in and go, hey, we think this is what a healthy diet looks like. We think this is what health you guys should do to create more health in the country. Gear it this way. But here's the thing, and this is from some exposure that recently came out, that an organization went in, and the Freedom of Information Act, they got these records, and they were looking at tax records as well as investment records. And what they found on the tax side was that that the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics received millions of dollars. Hey Patricia, good to see you. Pop down below where you guys are watching from. Love to see you. And if you remember that old food pyramid, we're going to be talking about that as well. Millions of dollars from food companies, and we're not talking about just any food companies. We're talking about Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Nestle, Hershey, Kellogg's, ConAgra, which is one of the largest grain producers in the country, the Sugar Association. I didn't even know there was a Sugar Association. Anybody ever heard of the Sugar Association? But they're basically this group that goes out and tells people how great sugar is. The Corn Refiners Association. Hey Kimberly, good to see you in Virginia there. The Corn Refiners Association. What are they refining? High fructose corn syrup. So of course they want to get in with the American Nutrition and Dietetics and say, hey, we're actually not that bad of a product. You should all be using this, and it's actually healthy. And so they're receiving millions of dollars, and this organization, they actually hold stock, which is kind of interesting that I guess they get that much money that they have to invest, and they invest in Pepsi, Nestle, Smuckers, all these other, again, high sugar, highly processed, highly refined, damaging companies that seriously destroy the health of our nation, and it's around the world now, but especially the United States, because we're talking about the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics are training then these frontline people that go out and say, hey, this is a healthy diet, all these things. And so we are still under this thought process in that frontline dietitian. Anytime somebody applies, when we're hiring a nutritionist for our team, if somebody says registered dietitian, I went to college to be a dietitian, that's a big red flag, because they have been indoctrinated to believe that grains are healthy for you, that you need X amount of grains to get your fiber, and that again, even still talking about that semi, they try to change it around a little bit, but it's the same thought process. The food pyramid has always been grains on the bottom, fruits, vegetables, proteins, and the stuff, and then fats all the way up at the top in that pyramid, when it actually should be the other way around. We should be eating a bigger quality of vegetables, good fats, good protein, small amount of fruits, and a very limited amount of grains or carbohydrates. It's just not constructive. We have every single one of our patients, we've had thousands of people use continuous glucose monitors, use finger prick glucose monitors, and I rarely, if ever, I've maybe seen a couple people ever that can eat some rice and their blood sugar not spike up. And think about this, rice is like, oh my gosh, it's this great food. Same thing with quinoa, same thing with sweet potatoes, same thing with corn. All of these things that we're just throwing at our kids. If you look at what a typical school lunch is, it's horrible. And here's even the thing, in Colorado here, there's elections or tomorrow, and there's a bill that says, hey, healthy school lunches, and sounds all great, and they're like, oh, we're gonna get healthy school lunches, and we're gonna tax you, hundreds of millions of dollars to do that. And I'm still like, who's saying it's healthy? Who's giving the thumbs up that that's a healthy meal? So just because we go from some ultra processed macaroni and cheese to some other whole grain, whole wheat pasta or something, I mean, that's still not healthy for the vast majority of people. So they were receiving millions of dollars from these food companies. They were holding stocks from all of these ultra processed food companies, including even the National Dairy Council. A lot of people are like, oh, well, dairy's good for you. And I'm like, no, it's not. The vast majority of people do not do well with dairy. Maybe some little butter here, maybe a little cheese there, but to sit there and drink whole things of milk and sour cream and all this stuff is not healthy. For those people that are putting milk in their coffee, the dairy actually binds to these polyphenols, which is that good antioxidant. Any of these studies that you read about how coffee is okay for you, it's because of these polyphenols. But you pour dairy in there, and it actually blocks those receptors. So do not be putting. You can put a little bit of butter in there, because that's just the fat, but if you're putting protein in from the dairy, from the cream or the milk, it is blocking those. What are ways I can increase my fasting blood sugar level? It's too low and dipping down to the 50s, and I feel terrible. So if this is, hey Emily, good to see you. So if this is a morning fasting blood sugar level, that's why you need to use a continuous glucose monitor, because you need to see, are you spiking up and then crashing down? If you are, you need to stop the spike. So you need it just to do this throughout the nighttime. So look at what you're eating before bed, dinner, anything like that. The other thing is that you may not be getting enough fat before bed, and then it's crashing down. It doesn't spike up, but it's just not able to hold it. So if it's just going low, 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 then the biggest thing, if somebody's blood sugar is going low in the middle of the night, is to stabilize that blood sugar in the daytime, and to get that blood sugar as stabilized as possible in the daytime. And so, I wasn't sleeping at. Yeah, so to turn the CGM alarm off at nighttime, absolutely. So have a snack before bed, until you can get that stabilized. Put that in some almond butter and a couple slices of apple, a slice of turkey breast with some avocado in there. Things like that should do better at keeping that stabilized. And since you're using a continuous glucose monitor, you should be able to see all night long through there. Great question. So here's the deal. These companies that are, it's not just Coca-Cola makes Coca-Cola. They own like 300 different lines of drinks, Red Bulls and all Monsters and all these different things. Same thing with Pepsi. That Nestle owns not just Nestle's candy bars, but tons of different, they buy up company after company after company, and it is ultra processed. It's making our country, our world sicker than ever. So, be very careful the next time a nutritionist or dietitian or anybody gives you advice, because where are they getting their information? Is it from real world? That's what we do. Sure, I've learned a lot from different people, but I've learned more in the 20 plus years I've been in practice about what people need to be doing than I ever have from some guru or from some academy or organization. It's real world. You've got to be doing it day in and day out. Looking at blood work, redoing blood work, looking at blood work, redoing blood work, and seeing what difference. So Angela, I started eating a protein snack before bed a few months ago, and I've never slept better. So glad I heard you make that suggestion to try that. Yeah, absolutely. So Angela, keep working on your blood sugar throughout the day, and you won't need that snack as much at nighttime. But yes, try that little protein fat snack before bed, and see if that is helpful. All right, guys. Just always put on your thinking caps and know that the people that are giving advice are not always trained in ethical ways, and they may not even know it. So Patricia, thank you for jumping on. You are so welcome. So love you guys. Stay strong. Keep your bodies as healthy as possible by doing the right thing. And you don't just listen to somebody. You do something. You check blood work. You check your glucose. You get a CGM, all these things, and you make sure that your body is responding like it's supposed to. Love seeing you guys, and if you got any questions at all, pop that down below, and we will be talking soon. Take care.